Number 2, work on a consultative sales approach. The main question any potential client is asking when they come to you is, will I be able to collaborate with this person on my needs? And there's more than a couple layers to that. It's their needs. Does this freelancer match what our current need is? And collaborate. Does this person seem like somebody who communicates well, asks good questions, sends a follow-up when they say they're going to send a follow-up, and adds value throughout the conversation? So this is a bit for a SaaS sales team. This is a bit sales 101 level, but I've written this before and I want to say it again. Freelancer, you are a salesperson too. You're selling your own services. Salespeople are active. They are consistent. They reach out a lot and they try to understand the prospect's needs. So when I say consultative sales approach, I mean, show them you know them, reference a recent campaign or their website. At the very least, if you're applying to a gig, make sure you follow the instructions. Start the conversation with questions, whether you're reaching out in a DM or an intro email or cold email, or on the first call. Lead with questions. What's going on? What's caused you to reach out about working with a freelancer? What's something that's worked well in the past? What hasn't worked well in the past? What are you looking to accomplish in this next year? Start with questions, which goes into leading the conversation. On that first call, you can ask a bunch of questions. It's part of leading the conversation, but it's also setting up expectations for the call. Jumping on a 30-minute call and just saying like, hey, what's up? What do you need? Oh yeah, this is kind of what it is. I can kind of do that. Here's some stuff I've done. That never goes as well as jumping on a call and saying, hey, Katie, it's great to meet you. I know you sent over XYZ, so it's looking like you're looking for ABC. Is that right? Great. Today, I'd love to spend the first 10 minutes or so just trying to understand where you're at and what you're working on. And I can spend a few minutes sharing how I work and what I focus on. And then let's save the last 15 minutes for digging in a little bit deeper there and seeing if we're a good fit. You can start out the conversation that way. I won't guarantee, but those conversations, maybe 9 times out of 10, are going to go much, much better than just jumping out on without a clear agenda. Number 4, maybe this seems like a sub point, but I wanted to call it out on its own. Be clear about your pricing and your process. So in that second part of the call, if you're setting the agenda and leading the conversation, in that second part of that first call, you should be laying out what your pricing is and how it works and what your typical process is. Okay, you're sharing you need XYZ. That was roughly $600 per article. If you're wanting to do 4 articles, $2,400 a month. How does that sound to you? Get it out on the call rather than it being a surprise down the line and them having to adjust or disqualify you because of your pricing. Maybe even more importantly, be clear about your process. Great, you want to do this ASAP. I typically kick off at the beginning of every month to make sure there's a consistent cadence. We can plan on kickoff for October 3rd. From there, I spend about 2 weeks onboarding with you to understand your product, your audience, your wider go-to-market motion, and then I'll be ready to jump in with deliverables. From there, I have about a 2-week turnaround time to get you the drafts that you need or whatever the deliverable is. Lay that out as clearly as possible. Number 1, it signals to them that you know your stuff and you know what you're doing. And number 2, it makes sure there's no surprises on the second call or after kickoff about your pricing and your process. Number 5, share value. In the first conversation, give advice if you can in that first conversation of, have you considered this? Have you looked into this? And definitely share value in your follow-ups. Don't just send something 2 weeks later saying, hey, checking in on this, how's it going? Even if it's just expanding on the email a little bit and saying, hey, noticed the new website is up, excited to see new content. Are you still looking for help with content production? Or, hey, I read this LinkedIn post that seemed relevant to our first conversation, thought you might find it interesting, and send it over. So just share value throughout the process. Finally, this is less the consultative side and more of just the sales process side, keep following up. Most freelancers stop after 1 or 2 follow-ups. Most salespeople stop after 1 or 2 follow-ups. Don't be afraid to follow up 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 times over the course of at least a handful of months, if not over the course of a year, until you get a no, a clear no, or yeah, let's explore this further.